Hello, you wonderful creatures, and thank you for coming back to my channel. Mwah! I love you all. I really do, actually. In this day and age, attention is currency. So you're spending your currency on me, and I really can't thank you enough. But in doing so, I want to talk about something that is not easy for me to talk about. But I am trying to push myself to be more vulnerable, because if I'm going to speak to people about being vulnerable and hopefully them accepting their vulnerabilities, I have to do the same. So here it is. For the last couple of days, I have felt low. I do have mental health issues that they don't get me on a regular basis. I know how to regulate myself. I've worked long and hard, very long and hard, over how to manage myself. I've come quite far in the last at least 5 years. Sorry, in the last 6 months. But I can feel myself slipping. And it took me a while, it took me a few days and a weekend of doing absolutely bugger all to realise why I've been slipping. And that is, I've smashed some self-beliefs. And self-beliefs, oh Lord, have you ever smashed one? The problem with self-belief is, self-beliefs in stuff, is we identify with them. They are incorporated in the identity of how we see ourselves, as well as how others see us. So we combine the two, and that becomes our identity, that becomes our self-belief. And you will not realise how many self-beliefs you will hold until you start breaking them. And just lately, I've broken several. I won't divulge into it because it is something that I will not share with other people, or it doesn't need to be publicly known, but the concept of the situation I'm telling you. I broke a self-belief, a deep-rooted self-belief, and I've been slumped ever since, because I realised my identity is still holding on to the old self-belief, but I'm not that anymore. If you want to really make a person break down, you make them see, or they can see for themselves, the errors in their self-belief, because then they have to change everything that they thought was, because a self-belief is not a single thing on its own. It is connected to many things, from attention to how they present themselves, what can be is even as simple as who they hang around with. These are the kind of things that self-belief is attached to, or a self-belief or an identity that is surrounded by a self-belief. Now, it could be one self-belief, it could be several. There's generally never would have one on its own. But as I say, I broke a big one, and it left me feeling like I didn't really know myself, and I could feel, as Churchill used to put it, his dark dog coming back. And I was like, why have I got this feeling? Like, I've done really well, I've worked really hard on myself, I'm still working really hard on myself. And then I got other people telling me, the cliches of keep working on yourself, and the right things, the right people, and the things will come along. And I was like, I don't understand, like, these cliches, as much as they are true, they're annoying me. Why are they annoying me? And because everything that they was telling me in these cliches, I was already doing. But what had happened is these cliches were correct in the terms that they were speaking, but because I'd broken a self-belief, those cliches weren't attached to that anymore, or I wasn't attached to that anymore. So I've had to reassess myself, but in doing so, I've had to actually openly say, I have broken a self-belief, and it has left me feeling a little lost, and I feel a little down, and that's okay. So in doing so, it's leaving you even more exposed. Be kind to yourself in these times, because once you've broken a self-belief, you've changed in your identity, you need time to process. You need to understand where these emotions are coming from and how to handle them. If you need to cry, cry. It is perfectly fine. We are allowed to cry. When we break stuff that we have held so strongly for so long, and we break it, it's there are no words to explain the emotions that flow from that. and allow those emotions, and allow yourself to be heard as well. Don't allow, if somebody comes at you with a cliche, please tell them, like, I understand where you're coming from, and I know you mean it from a good place, but I just need to be heard because this is what I'm thinking or feeling, and I feel like I'm going a bit nuts. I personally always feel like I'm going a bit nuts, and I know that's not the correct term, and I know it's not PC, but please understand that I'm saying it for myself. When you break something you've held on to for so long, whether that's a belief, an item, a relationship, you change the identity of who you are. You evolve and adapt yourself. That takes time. It takes emotions and it takes processing. But I can say this, you will come out. You know you'll come out of it the other side fine because you've had to do that. You've got on over adversities. I know you won't be fine, but you will be a better version of you because you've been able to overcome whatever it was of that self-belief and adapt your self-belief and changing, recognizing that that was no longer working for you. Thank it. For the love of God, thank it, but move on. It saved you, it protected you up until this point. The reason why it broke is because that belief doesn't work for who you are and how you've evolved. And well done you for evolving. Well done you for evolving. But if it does happen, I will say from the bottom of my heart, give yourself time. And I can guarantee you it will be the most inconvenient time in the world when it does happen. But give yourself time. Be kind and speak to somebody. I know asking for help, like I've said before, is when you're ready. But if you've got to the point where you feel like you're ready, ask for help. It's vulnerable, it's scary, but bloody hell. When your view of yourself changes, you can feel like you're going, as I say, going nuts. You just need to be heard to hear your own voice to realise you're not. You just evolved past that self-belief, evolved past that identity of who you were. And well done. Well done. That's all I have to say is well done. Now, I look like a mess because I've had, let's say, a weekend off of doing anything, but this was on my mind, and if I show you in all my messy glory who I am and what I'm trying to be, then hopefully you can have the courage to be who you are trying to be. So on that note, again, I love you all for being here, listening to me talk with my crazy hair, and looking shockingly in my big massive jumper. But sometimes you just got to turn up as you are and show who you are. I love and appreciate you all, and if you feel this will help you, like, comment. I always want to know what you think, and I hope to see you in the next video.